what is the wonder of WONDR?
Fear of failure prevents us from reaching our full potential.
We need to pave the way for them to ask why.
Curiosity gives us 9 lives.
Marked with a low grade, the inevitable talk happens.
And you're teaching kids to hate maths. And that's very, very sad.
And then you try again.
It's never too late.
It's my mission to sort of defend that curiosity.
Never believe a prediction that doesn't empower you.
But hopefully, along this little journey, I've managed to inspire a little wonder in you as well.
But thank you so much for joining me today, Elena. It's great to get a chance to speak to you more, and I've always been excited ever since meeting you about how your experience has unfolded and the journey you've taken. So this is great to have a chance to share with a wider audience about some of those topics. And I wondered
if Sam.
Sorry, please.
I just wanted to thank you and say I'm very excited to be joining your platform as one of the mentors, and I appreciate very much the invitation.
It's wonderful. Well, it's lovely to have you with us, and it's everything we're building the platform for. So we feel very privileged to have the conversation. Thanks, Elena. I wondered if you'd mind helping people kind of go back a step or two to where your interest in sustainability and impact primarily began, and what point you began to weave this into your professional life.
Sure, happy to. It was a bit of a long exploratory journey. So I got first into sustainability in university. First of all, I joined a student organization called ISIC that is focusing a lot around leadership and social impact. So what they do is a lot about social sustainability. And then the second one was my thesis. I was writing my thesis about the impact of multinational corporations on human rights. And I was looking into a new model of not just direct impact, but of economic impact through markets monopolization and controlling prices and things like this. And this is when I had my aha moment. I thought, I really want to work on sustainability. That would be my dream job. Then actually from university, I got more into ISIC. I was really on the social side of it, but it's a student organization. So when I finished university, I was looking for a first job, and I was extremely lucky to join Mastercard back then. I was working on business development and sales, and it was, a fantastic experience. I loved the company. I spent 11 years there. But every time at the back of my head, there was something telling me, you have to at some point transition to sustainability. It's a wonderful company. You love your colleagues, you love the atmosphere, but you have to work on sustainability. That's something you have to do. But, I always had that feeling that I was not maybe worthy enough or maybe not good enough, that I was missing something. And I tried to send a couple of CVs, never got any responses. I tried to talk to a couple of people outside of the company who were, sustainability professionals, to ask for their advice. But there was always a lack of confidence inside me, and I was always thinking, I still need something else. I still need something else. And then I had my kids, and kind of the urgency of action started popping up in my head. I thought, I want to make sure that they have a good future. I have to do something now. I really have to transition. And I decided to get a degree in energy and climate to kind of have the background to not just want to be in sustainability, not just have experience on the social side of it and a couple of courses, but really to have the holistic picture. So that's when I got my postgraduate, and actually it was great because climate change and sustainability, it's very interdisciplinary. So that degree helped me get the background from biology, from social sciences, of how climate change is so difficult to deal with and how it is a wicked societal issue. But there was also thermodynamics, economics, and all kinds of disciplines that brought it all together and gave me a very good background to understand what are the good sustainability initiatives, what are maybe the ones that will not bring as much value, and most importantly, what is the science telling us of what we need to do, how quickly we need to do it, and what are the steps that will make the most difference. And kind of from that moment on, I was more set. I said, okay, at least I have a background. Now I have to kind of make a professional leap into sustainability. And then it's when it all changed. At Mastercard, when I started reaching out to people, doing a lot of projects on sustainability first on top of my job. But that's when I knew I really have to take that step. We don't have much time on our hands. We have to act quickly. And it's not that you're liking something, or it's not that someone else is liking something. We just have to go ahead and do it.
I love that. Thank you. And a couple of things you've just mentioned there, I think segue quite nicely, where you mentioned about in the early days, maybe not feeling like worthy enough or feeling like you could participate in those areas, but then also ensuring that there is a good future. You wanted to take on an educational journey in order to understand things better. And I think those two components really play into what we're building here together, which is why we're excited over the collaboration, where there's these live cohort-based courses where people can go through that journey to have some accountability or some support emotionally with others along the journey and with you, but also then a bit of information and knowledge along the way. You'll soon be starting a course on WONDR that's all about helping individuals break into sustainability. What did your experience, either at Mastercard or in other walks of life as you've gone down your own journey, teach you about the impact space, and why do you think it's important to help demystify that process to get more people into this area?
Well, I was thinking about this area because of a lot of questions that I was getting. And those questions were from students or from people that are working in different companies, and they all came to me and asked, I really want to work on sustainability. Can you help me? Can you give me advice? What am I liking? What do I still need to do to be able to get into the space? And that was really a lot of questions like this. And that resonated very much with me because I was like that too. I was waiting for years to get in the space. I was for years doubting myself. I was for years trying to send out CVs and haven't gotten a single response. And I thought, but I'm smart. I mean, I have all cum laude degrees. I know I can do it. I know I'm fantastic at my job, and I know I can be fantastic in any job. But why is it not working? Why cannot I just progress and get into the space? I also saw other people, a lot more people getting into the space. And I thought, but why can't I do it? I know I can do it, but something is just not working out. And then at some point, I started doing a lot of things, actually moving into the space. And now looking backwards at the progress that I've made in the last years, I want to share the things that I've done. I want to share these tips of how to build a network and sustainability, of how to emerge in the space, of how to get into these opportunities right away, on how to build your CV and how to position yourself in sustainability, because I know it's a pain for a lot of people. We can look at statistics. Apparently 70% of people, according to research, are concerned that climate change will impact us personally, and they want to do something about it. On the other hand, we have the notion of climate quitting and people not accepting jobs or leaving jobs. Apparently 1/5 of people would not accept a job offer if the company has bad ESG commitments. So for me, that shows that we are at the time and space where we have hundreds, thousands of people that want to do something. But if they're all feeling, I'm not worthy enough, I don't know how to get into the space, I want to help them. I want to give them the instruments that helped me to emerge in the space and make sure that instead of doubting themselves and instead of waiting, they're actually making positive impact. For me, that's my main driver. I want to be feeling like I'm doing something worthy, like I'm really working on the future for our children, on the future for us. And I'm sure a lot of people are feeling that way, and I want to help them because I understand how painful it can be to have this feeling inside you, to think that you want to do something, but you just don't know how. So for me, the goal of this course is to, first of all, break those barriers in the head that someone is missing something to start acting. But second of all, get really, really practical instruments on what to do right now and how to get in the space right now, or how to build a network right now and start making positive impact.
I really love that kind of passion towards action as well. Whilst there is obviously the education and the thought process and the experience that you've had, you're very passionate about getting people into seeing where the opportunities are, which is what your course is all about, as you say. When you're using like social platforms and your reach is expanding, etc., across different social platforms like LinkedIn and YouTube, What role do you think that plays in raising this awareness and sharing your perspective or sharing that knowledge to lead towards action?
That is a very good question. And for a very long time, for years, I was not really active on social platforms. I was kind of reading things, but not really posting. But that all changed when I started getting in the space and building sustainability image for myself, but also educating other people. The educational piece came kind of naturally by itself. I started to share the content, to kind of share that I have knowledge about the topic, and I would recommend that to anyone to do that. Because sometimes we are too shy to sell ourselves or to position ourselves, but in the end, I always love this example of a cleaning lady. You can be the best cleaning lady out there, but if no one knows about you, you cannot clean anything. And that applies to sustainability. I mean, you can be the best sustainability professional, but if no one knows about you, you are missing a chance of making a positive impact. So for me, social media are a fantastic way to spread the message and educate people. And that's what I'm trying to do every week through my posts. Because people simply don't know that there is such scale of an issue. They don't know yet how urgent things are. If you look at the global scale, something is happening everywhere. But if you're just looking in our own garden or in our own city, we might see a flooding or we might see a heat wave, but it's not a constant process. And we may not think that action is necessary right away. So social media are very important in that sense to spread the message in a very simple way to a lot of people. And it has a very important second component is positioning yourself and networking. In sustainability, it's all about collaboration. We have to set aside our differences. We have to set aside our competition on a global scale because we all have to work together towards a common goal. And I think that's what social networks can facilitate. I've met hundreds of fantastic people on LinkedIn that we are working together, collaborating with, but also the ones that are role models for me, that examples for me. When I saw people start sustainability companies just because they saw something not good with the world and read books and then involved scientists and just went into doing that, I thought if they can do it, then I can do it too. So in that sense, I think social media is super important. It's a great tool to achieve all of these goals. And in my course, I will also be sharing how I use social media. I will give some tips and tricks on how to adjust profiles, how to position yourself, and how to connect with people through social media to build those relationships and maybe start doing new projects together on the impact space.
That's great. Yeah, I love the point about the collaboration side as well. That really strikes true to everything that we value. And thank you for sharing that. I think it's wonderful that you're looking to bring people into that kind of conversation and help them realize about themselves that they can do something. And it sounds like you had similar realizations, and from there you've grown and grown. How important have you found startups or entrepreneurs or the private sector basically in playing a role here? Or can anybody in any profession kind of have a chance to drive into impact? Or do you feel that entrepreneurs and startups are also an important component towards creating this future?
It's a very good question. And I think that everyone can be a driving force. I read in the book recently, I was doubting myself and I thought, as an individual, what can you do? As an employee, what can you do? The scale of the issue is so big. We are not controlling much. How can you impact that? And that kind of pulled the power away from me until I read in the book that societal change starts with individuals. In fact, according to research, we only need 10% of population to be on board with a certain opinion before societal change starts rolling over the whole society. And that component that the change starts with an individual, it really empowered me. All of a sudden, I didn't feel like the power was away from me and someone else was controlling everything. I really felt I can do something. I can do something impactful. And in that sense, I think wherever people are, in whichever walks of life, they can make a difference. If they're in jobs in the private sector, they can do projects right where they are on sustainability and make impact. They can inspire other people within the company to change as well and do those projects. They can inspire the leadership of the company to go ahead and do those projects. And they can skyrocket that change maybe across a whole global corporation. If they're in the government sector, they can change things too. Politicians are the ones we are looking at when they are negotiating agreements globally or launching local initiatives. But government is also key in terms of dealing with sustainability. And it's not always easy there because of the short-termism and the politicians looking to be re-elected, but the government is a place for change as well. However, startups can be extremely impactful as well because they are the ones that are bringing new ideas, the crazy ones. Sometimes it's more difficult to bring change in a global corporation or in a government because of all the legacy, because of all the reputation and everything that the company has done before. The startups are the ones that are skyrocketing new ideas. And now we have a lot of startups in the sustainability space. And in fact, when I was talking to a VC, they said that they see that sustainability is 10 times bigger opportunity than tech. And they are really investing into those startups that have high decarbonization potential. In fact, I'm joining a startup myself now, and I think this is a fantastic space to do a change as well. But it all depends on the type of person, right? Change can be done anywhere. I worked in a global company, I worked in a local company in Belgium, and I'm now working with startups. Wherever you are, you can make a change and you can work on sustainability. Just the place that you're most comfortable with, the place where you feel like you belong there, that's where I think you can make the most impact.
Yeah, that's awesome. And getting to know who you are and finding your own self is, I suppose, a really important part towards that process. And
absolutely.
Would you mind elaborating a bit more on that then, in terms of who are you looking to support with the course and what outcomes are you looking to see as a result of people taking part?
Yes, of course. So in terms of the course, I'm looking to support people that are thinking in the back of their mind that they want to change into sustainability, but don't know where to start, or don't feel like they are ready, or feel like they're missing something, or feel that they don't know anyone. Anyone hesitating, but feeling like they want to make that step, like they want to make a difference. With that course, we will look practically into, first of all, determining the big goals. That was the change for me as well. I hesitated for a long time, and I started acting when I actually set myself a focus of where I was moving to, and a very ambitious one. So I'm gonna help others also to look into that, to where they want to go to, because I very much like this comparison. The plane needs a direction and a destination, because if you just have a direction, let's say a sustainability direction, for a plane it can flow in that direction, but there are winds coming in, so that direction might change and you don't know where the plane will arrive. That's why it needs a destination as well, because then it can correct its direction to get there. And that's what we will be looking at the course, not just get into the sustainability, but what's your personal goal that you want to achieve and how to get there. And my whole course will be directed at that goal, but also very much practical things that can be done to get to that goal. I want people in the course to start acting right away. This will not be a theoretical knowledge thing. I will, of course, add some components on climate change and what to read and on sustainability in general. I will try to help as much with my knowledge as I can. But the goal of the course is also to give very much practical exercises and tips to start doing right away, to build a CV, to build experience in sustainability, to build a network. I want people to get into that right away during the course already, so that they have the support of me, they have the support of the group, and they have concrete and clear, very simple steps to take to get there.
That's awesome. Yeah, again, that action taking is so important. You mentioned there about how people sometimes maybe procrastinate, or they delay, or they don't get started. And you've mentioned in this conversation kindly reflecting on how you at some point in your journey also felt the same pains that they might be feeling right now, those frustrations and that confusion of where to start, what do I do? But you had that self-belief because you knew you could contribute. I wondered if you'd mind reflecting over some of your experience again and sharing a project or a program that you've worked on, whether that was at Mastercard or somewhere else, and anywhere that you're really proud of, and why. And that may even be, reflecting on some of these. Sometimes people call them vulnerabilities, but I think they're just complete growth points where we all experience these same issues to do with confusion and fear. And I don't want to, I can't do this. I shouldn't do that. No one else is doing it. What about if I fail? I wondered if you'd mind sharing a project or program that you've been proud of, and just sharing with us why that was important to you.
Sure, very much so. And do you mind if I share too?
Of course, please. That'd be great.
So one of them that I'm really proud of that I worked on, I was a core project manager at Mastercard on a project for the future of sustainability of products and services. And that was a very interesting exercise of looking into where the company is now and the direction that it should take in terms of sustainability. I was lucky that Mastercard was at the forefront. It's in sustainability and also in the social piece of it, and diversity and inclusion. And I was lucky that the company was looking into that direction, investing into that direction, and seeing how not they just can decarbonize themselves, but how they can work with a whole partner ecosystem to bring change. And for me, that was extremely powerful one, because I got to connect with a lot of people inside the company. Also, I got to think a lot outside of the box in terms of what is to come. And that's something that I was very fortunate to work on. And the second project that I'm starting to work with only right now, but I think it's amazing. It's probably I was not that sure in any idea before in my life, is the project on cleaning soils globally and enabling circular economy. So we are building something similar to the ocean cleanup, but for soils. I didn't know how extremely important the soil pollution was. Just in Europe, there are over 100,000 hotspots for just pitfalls, but you have, oil spills, you have heavy metals, and all of that goes into soils, goes into the food that we eat, and impacts our health. In fact, over 3 billion people globally are already affected by poor soils. And I've met someone through LinkedIn who is extremely passionate about solving this through nature, who cleans soil pollution through plants and then uses the safe parts of the plants for bio-based circular economy. And the whole process is also climate positive because it absorbs CO2. It sucks more CO2 than it emits. And now we are taking this solution globally. We want to clean soils globally on that enormous scale. And that is something that I'm extremely passionate and excited and proud to be working on.
Yeah, well, it sounds pretty amazing in terms of the impact. And when you mentioned there about the journey you've been on and not thinking maybe in your wildest thoughts that you'd end up on these moments, I love the analogy of the plane and having a destination. How would you reflect in these moments where you realize that the network and the connections you build as well create serendipitous moments where, you've had another gust of wind, I suppose, that's under your wings, and you're taking maybe another direction, but the destination feels very much aligned to when you started out. It's still very much grounded in what you want to contribute your time to. I wondered if we could extend that analogy a bit further with the plane, and how are you feeling about this new opportunity now with the startup or the company? Is it a startup is it a startup? Yeah. How are you feeling about joining there with everything you've learned so far, and does the destination still feel the same to you in terms of what you want to do with the work?
Sam, it's a fantastic question on the serendipity, because now looking back, I can analyze it and I can see that I've tried to foster those connections. It's, the results that we get, they very much depend on our surroundings. And if we are in a completely different surrounding and are trying to get into sustainability, it would be very hard. It was like me at the beginning, trying to send out CVs with having some background on social sustainability and working in a global non-governmental organization, but working at Mastercard at the moment and trying to get in the area without educational degree or without a lot of experience. So to get there faster, we kind of need to put ourselves in the environment of sustainability and the environment of serendipity. And that means connecting to a lot of people in sustainability area and seeing what they are doing, getting inspired, learning about their projects, posting maybe content and getting into social media to kind of spread the message, spread awareness, and build those connections, because the more you communicate, the more you get people reacting and the more you build those connections. And also going out there and trying things, right? Trying different projects to figure out what you like, to meet once again new people, to see that there is movement and there is a lot of happening. So we can be somewhere stuck trying to get into the surrounding, or we can bring the surrounding to us to make sure that we foster, we progress. And also now that I'm looking back, I think that was creating serendipity. Last year, I met at a conference in Amsterdam, Dr. Christian Busch, and he did a presentation of his book on connecting the dots, the art and science of creating good luck. And he was talking about serendipity and that we need to cultivate it to be more successful. And he was giving tips on how to do that. And I realized that's what I've been doing. I've been doing that during the pandemic through social networks at the beginning, because we were all stuck at home, or through my podcast, or through reaching out to people. Now also with events and physical events, not just online space, but that's what I started to be doing. And at the beginning, maybe it didn't feel like a lot of progress, but when you do it from day to day, when you're very consistent with it, all of a sudden you look back half a year, 2, 3 years back, and you're thinking, whoa, I've achieved so many things that I haven't realized that I've done that. But this serendipity, these connections, they are incredibly important to foster and to grow. And yeah, that has been a game changer for me, and that's what I want to do. I want to share my path. I want to share my tips of how I was doing that. I want to open up my connections and my knowledge to people so that they can do that too. They can put themselves into that sustainability surrounding. They can build those connections and they can act on them, because I still do believe that connections are everything. They are the ones that bring us new projects. They are the ones that bring us new job opportunities. They are the ones that help us make an impact.
That sounds really quite profound, really, in terms of what opportunities there are. I had got one last question, which I think really just dovetails off what you've just mentioned, really. But maybe there's another way that you'd like to say it. I'm not sure, because what you've just said is it's pretty much on the money anyway, in my mind. But if there was one thing or two things that you would hope for those who join your course to leave feeling, or to leave having knowledge of, or being equipped with, what would that be in your own words that you hope for and you're looking to create for people who join your course?
That's a very good question as well. The first thing that I want to have the learners leave with is empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
Very often, the lack of empowerment blocks us from action. And I want the learners to have this empowerment to act, to know that they are enough, to know what are the steps that they need to take, to start taking those steps, to know that they are fantastic, they are great, and they have all the tools out there to go ahead and make a difference. So that's number one. And number two, I want them to leave already with progress. As I've said before, that's why there will be a lot of practical exercises on how to get into sustainability right away. And I truly mean it. I will be giving exercises and these tips to do. I will be checking on them. I will be giving guidance and progress. And I want learners to leave the course with a feeling that they are moving towards where they want to be, with a feeling of progress, because that will also release a lot of those frustrations and put this energy into a positive direction, right? Mm-hmm. So I want them to leave the course with already some progress towards their main goals, being surrounded by the people that are looking into the same direction as them.
Amazing. Well, we're really excited for the course. I think it sounds a wonderful experience that you're putting together, especially with the analogies of giving people maybe that rocket fuel for their planes when they're flying, but also in your new starter, there's also those lovely analogies of when soil is an important part of where you plant a plant, How does it grow? Do you blame the environment or do you blame the plant? And it sounds like you're going to allow people to bring that environment around them to make them flourish. So lovely nature metaphors and things you've got going on, but really looking forward to the course, Elena. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Sam, I think this is a great metaphor that you made. And in fact, that's what I want to create with the course as well, to bring that safe space for everyone to start learning, to start acting, but also to connect with each other, because we never know what kind of serendipitous outcomes may come from just learners connecting with each other. And that's why during the course, we will also pair each person with another one so that they can be accountable into what they're doing, what their goals are, and they can find maybe a new friend. But they would also be able to connect with other people throughout the course as well, so that they can foster those connections later on, and who knows what can come out of it. I'm a very big fan of networking, and coming from an introvert, that's, you know, a big revelation. I think connections are everything, and that would be that environment that we will want to create for soils or for people to act towards climate change and action.